So on top of Weili Zhang, take this in. Cejudo obviously takes his opportunity to try to call her out.
Bro.
The most cringe-worthy, like, it's getting past cringe. It's getting to the point where I'm just frankly getting annoyed. Yeah. And I want him to lose so badly that I have to tune in. And that's exactly that's exactly what he wants.
That's what he wants.
And I hate that I'm giving him what he wants. But damn, he's turned himself into quite the villain. He's like the stereotypical petting his cat. Man. Like, he just reminds me of like of the villain that you're just like, oh my god, is this guy really supposed to be a villain right now? Like, get out of here with this corny shit.
Yeah.
He's like the Riddler and the Penguin combined from Batman. Two of the most weird villains you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
Oh my god,
it's I like that, the Penguin.
It's like that's what he is. This is just some guy with like, and it's funny because this guy, his chip on his shoulder comes from the fact that he's got that Napoleon Complex. You know that guy's sitting there being like, yo, you don't call me small. I'm the triple C. You can bend the knee to triple C. It's like, dude.
You try to fight women, bro?
Yeah, why are you trying to be the intergender champ? It's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Just the way it sounds so fucked up.
Intergender champ? What's wrong with you, dude? Like, what, you want to fight women so badly, like so badly. You want to be the pioneer of this garbage. Did you hear what Weili said?
Kind of so that you need to be careful if you want. What did she say?
No, so Shevchenko said, "Be careful of what you ask for."
Right.
Weili was asked about it at the post-fight press conference, and her response was hilarious. She was like, maybe, yeah, we can fight, but first he has to go to Thailand and get sex change surgery.
Oh god,
is what she said. Go to Thailand and get your
savage.
Go get a gonadectomy, which is when you take off the existing genitalia.
Okay.
So
you've looked up into this,
dude. I've had to look into this because I was interested to see what I could do for myself. You know, don't tell me I can't be a pretty woman.
Options,
if I want to identify as a pretty woman, I will.
Hell yeah.
Point being is, Zhang is telling Cejudo to go cut his balls off and then come talk to her. So I love it.
She shut him up pretty much.
She's making huge light of him, and he's going off on Twitter saying all this garbage, and you know he's just scripting his next cringy video, like that last one with the diapers on the belts that he won from TJ Dillashaw, from Demetrius Johnson, and from.
I haven't actually seen that, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Oh my god, dude, he has diapers on like 3 of his championship belts, and he's like, "Oh, TJ, it looks like you shot yourself," and like looks inside of it, there's like chocolate sauce, and he throws it. Bro. He's like, and he's reading them a story. He's reading his babies a story. He's like, and that's when Triple C became the best fighter in history. Closes it up. He's like, but what's next for me? I know. I'm gonna take the easy fight. Back in wrestling, we call it a squash match. We call it this. We call it that. And don't quote me on a squash match. I don't know what the hell he said. He called them a fish. He did call him a fish.
Right,
he's like, we call him fish, and he's like, Dominic Cruz. The easy fight. I'm like, oh my god, dude. This guy's never been an easy fight. It's never been easy for him to make it to the octagon, but it's never been an easy fight against Dominic Cruz. I'm just dying at this guy's antics. I hate to love how much I hate it. You know? Like, I hate how much I love to hate it. It's like, my god, you're just... but the thing is, at the same time, you go and look, and you're like, who is his direct competitor amongst the people that are trying to step up to him, right? I mean, when you look at it, like, Joseph Benavidez has clearly earned himself a title shot. And if Henry doesn't give it to him, Henry is essentially going to have to vacate that belt. Let's be real here.
Freaking Benavidez is not even ranked, though, it seems like.
Well, Benavidez is ranked number 1. He just won his last fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he just won his last fight and against, I think it was against Formiga. So he's got the next title shot 100% in the flyweight division, right?
I agree with that.
But Cejudo has to fight him for that, and that's not necessarily a big money fight for Cejudo.
No, for sure.
Who's looking for intergender fights. So, I mean, what's next? Who's he fighting next? I'd like to see, my most exciting fight that I could make out of all of these is probably Petr Yan, I should say, in the bantamweight division. I think he would be awesome to watch fight Cejudo because Petr Yan that's a tough.
He's a tough guy, yeah.
Son of a bitch, man. That guy's not gonna take those takedowns lightly. He's gonna be one of those. I want to see how he wrestles, obviously. But Petr Yan always stood out to me as a great fighter. I'd like to see, but obviously the guy who earned it the most, Benavidez, has first dibs. It's hard being the champion in 2 different divisions and defending both belts.
And Aljamain, we know Aljamain is Sterling
100%.
is I think gaining some traction lately. So
He got starched by Cejudo before with that knee or something like that.
Was that it?
I'm not sure if that was the fight, but I remember he fought Cejudo before and lost.
Oh,
And
I forget that
wasn't
one.
good. So, regardless, a very interesting situation here for Cejudo. Again, he's making up a whole bunch of, I'll fight anybody, I'll fight this, I'll fight that, but he just keeps talking. Dominic Cruz is an interesting guy to try to call out of all people, because people would want to see him come back and fight. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of like the fight for most interest. I think the most just fight would be Joseph Benavidez, and my fight I would want to see is Petr Yan.
Okay, I agree with your choices. I just think that the Dominic Cruz call out was, I don't know how I feel about it. Just because we know the guy's already just a commentator, pretty much.
Right.
Like, the guy has fought, like, what, 3 times?
4 times in the last 7 years.
There you go.
7 years.
Yeah.
He's averaging a fight every other year.
And he's averaging 10 injuries in between every fight. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to call it's hard to call a fighter a fighter when they're not fighting.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I think most of the MMA community at this point regards Dominic Cruz as more of a personality and more of a journalist, or whatever you want to call it, as opposed to a commentator, as opposed to an actual fighter.
And let's be honest here. This guy's 18-1. He's only lost once, and it was to Cody Garbrandt, who's not really a huge guy on the scene anymore. So Dominic Cruz, his body's failed him more than anything else. He's not losing. These aren't easy fights if you're 18-1. And he's one of the OGs in the UFC. It's not like this guy's been one of those guys who's been beating up on lesser competition the entire time. Like, he's been in the bantamweight division. He came on the scene with Uriah Faber, and they're fighters. They've been fighting, but Dominic Cruz hasn't been fighting very often. And Faber came back and had a big victory. So we've seen this whole renaissance where guys want to come back and they're winning fights. We've seen GSP do that. GSP did it for the middleweight against Bisping.
Yeah.
So we've seen these things happen. I'm intrigued. I would love to see Dominic come back and look dominating. I would especially love it if Cejudo would lose to him, because that would be awesome. I'd rather have Dominic Cruz as the champion. But for you to come back after nearly a 2-year layoff and fight for a championship immediately, that's haphazard. That's not smart. And that's why Cejudo's calling him out. A guy who has as much ring rust as you possibly could occur.
Okay. I'm with you. I think that there'll be a draw. And, like, if anyone, I think Dominic Cruz would be a good one. I'm just curious if he can actually, like, maybe, pull it through and get ready for a fight without an injury and, get through the whole process. But, I mean, if he does, it'd be a good fight.
All right.